So the first thing I'm going to start with is my spinach pie. This is really good. This is very full of fresh spinach, and you guys don't want to see me the whole time, so I'm going to flip my cameras down so that you can see some of the stuff that I do. I also got another camera that I'll switch to. This is a box and a half of frozen spinach that I've let thaw out. And then I squeezed all the water that I possibly could. I could probably squeeze it again. But it's to try to get all the water out of it that you possibly can. It's going to have a little water in it because spinach obviously is going to retain some water. So you just kind of want to pull it apart the best you can. So, but to start with, I'm going to flip my camera over. Don't turn it off this time. Okay, everybody can see that. I'm gonna saute some onions and some garlic and some olive oil. So I got a little bit of olive oil here. I'm just gonna put that in my pot, and I'm gonna dump in some onions. I'm not gonna put all the onions that the recipe calls for because at my house I have several people who just don't like onions. So, and for me to get them to eat the food, I got to kind of do what they say. So then I'm going to add, I've chopped up about a clove of garlic. That's what this is. Add that to it. Be real careful when you're cooking your garlic because it will burn and turn brown and ugly. So you want to make sure you get that all covered in the oil. So I'm using an induction burner and pan. That's just because I'm cooking in the odd side of my kitchen. Once that starts to sizzle, as you hear it, we're going to let that we're just going to cook those till they're clear. I've got a bigger skillet than I probably ought to really need for this, but that's okay. So we're going to put this together. We're going to use some puff pastry to make the pie. Then we're going to bake it. I've set my oven to 375, and then we're going to bake it for, it bakes for a while. We're going to add some other things to the oven as we go, but we'll have it out in time for our plate up at the end. I keep stirring this because I really don't want my garlic to get wacky. All right, let me turn that down just a little bit. All right, while that's working, I'm going to flip back over here. So you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So while that's finishing up, I'm going to add sorry about that. I had a brain freeze. I'm going to add some cottage cheese to my bowl. And then I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese. Just regular, everyday grated Parmesan cheese. I'm going to add a little salt. Not much. You know, Chef John don't do the salt. And a little pepper. There for a second. And then I'm going to add a little bit of nutmeg, just some ground nutmeg. I don't have to. This is optional. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. If you don't like the taste.
Say what now? It's optional?
Yes, ma'am. It's optional. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. Just a little. It gives it just a little of a nutty flavor.
I can do period 1 or period 3 for math. And
make sure I'm muted. How can you?
So I'm going to add a couple of eggs, and now I'm just going to mix this all together. And we want to mix this up really good. You guys can see me mixing this up. And this is just large curd cottage cheese. You can use any kind of cottage cheese. I just use the regular full fat. But if you wanted to use a low fat, that's fine. All right, and you're just going to mix this through. You want to make sure you get it good and mixed. And I'm letting my my onions and my garlic cool down a little bit. I don't want to put them in here hot. So I'm just going to mix this really good. All right, let's set this off to the side. I'm going to make my I'm going to get my puff pastry ready. So I'll take a little parchment paper, or if you have a wooden something you make bread in, that's okay, that'll work. And I got one sheet. I'll put down a little flour. I've got one sheet of puff pastry. I'm going to roll this out just a little bit because it's a little bit smaller than my pie plate. So I'm going to roll this out just a little bit. You want to let this puff pastry thaw out. It usually comes frozen. So what I want to try to do here is just kind of just roll it a little bit. I don't want to flatten it. I just want to make it a little bit bigger so it sits in my pie plate a little better. And it doesn't have to be round. We're actually going to fold the corners over so that the middle is exposed. It'll kind of look like that. I'll show you when we get to that point. Turn this over a little bit. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is kind of a pastry pie anyway. All right, I think that's good. So we're going to spray our pan. Just using just a generic Pyrex kind of pan. I'm just going to spray it really good. And then I'm going to lay my puff pastry down. And I want the edges to hang over the four corners. I'm not worried about, crimping, because I'm going to take these edges and I'm going to fold them over once I put the filling in. All right. So let me take my onions and garlic. I'm just going to add these guys to it. Sorry. By the end of the night, I'll be working in about 2 inches of space. All right, there we go. And then we're going to just stir this all together. This is really, it smells so good too, guys. I should have smell-o-vision. All right, so this is what that looks like all mixed together. And I'm just going to drop it right down in the middle of my pie plate. Make sure I get it all. I'm just going to spread it out a little bit. You don't think it's going to fill up the plate, but it will. I'm just going to bring it all around so you guys can see that. Okay. That's all we're going to do there. Now we're just going to take our corners. We're just going to fold them over. We're going to leave the middle kind of open. So it kind of looks like an envelope. Okay. I'll even that up a little bit. There we go. All right. Now with that, I got one egg that I already beaten, and I'm just going to brush that over the top. Nice and simple. It doesn't have to be exact because it will puff up and it'll kind of fill in. You want to try to get all the edges and all the good stuff here. And if you want to trim, I like the puff pastry part, so I'm not going to trim. But if you wanted to trim it and make it look super pretty, you could certainly do that. All right. Once I got all my egg wash on there, and that's just one raw egg beaten. You want to make sure you rub it in really, really good. Kind of get it all around the edges. All right, that's our spinach pie. And we're gonna go pop this in the oven. Now, the recipe calls for about 45 minutes at 375. We're gonna set our timer for 30 minutes, and then we'll take a look at it. So I've set my timer for 30 minutes. Although the recipe calls for 45. You can always add 15 minutes, but if you go 45 and it's too done, then you're kind of messed up. So you can always add time, but you can't take the time back. So always keep that in mind when you set your timers. All right, any questions on that one? Very cool. Real easy, yeah? Nice little spinach pie. Sorry, I promised myself today I would keep my kitchen a little less crowded than I have here. All right. So our next one, we're going to do our two entrees, which one is a sheet pan chicken, and the other one is some salmon. I have some beautiful salmon tonight that I want to do. I like doing things in a sheet pan. I don't know how many of you do cook that way, but it's really a very cool way to get all your meal done in one pan, and then just you're done. You don't have to cook, a whole lot of stuff. You're just going to go ahead and do all your work at one time. So I'm going to start with that chicken. A lot of this I'm not cooking too much on the stove. I'm working more in the oven tonight than I have been in the past. But we're gonna get going here. All right. Sorry, I don't mean to be off camera. I just have to grab things. I'm gonna move my oven, my stove top out of the way. Then I can put this here. All right, this is a really fun recipe. I really like this one. Move over there. All right, there we go. Camera out a little bit. All right, so we're gonna build our whole meal in the sheet pan, and then after the fact, when we're done tonight, I'm gonna put these in a pita, and we're gonna have them like a little pita sandwich, or you can just eat them the way they are. I'm gonna start by putting some oil in my pan, and I'm gonna spray my pan. Make sure that's good and sprayed. All right. Now, my chicken, the recipe says to take the chicken and put it between two pieces of plastic and pound it out. My chicken was already pretty flat, if you look at it. If you get those big fat chicken breasts, then put them between two pieces of plastic, and then use a rolling pin or a mallet or something heavy and just pound them out. You want them to be about the thickness of your finger. The reason why we do that is because you're going to cook everything together, and you want everything to be done pretty much at the same time. That makes sense? So I'm going to add, I'm going to season my chicken. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the sheet. And I'm using 4 pieces. It's just what I had in my freezer. This is a good thing. I keep things like this around for classes and if I'm hungry or whatever. So I'm going to add a little pepper, just a little pinch here and there. a little salt. You know, I don't do the salt much. This is what I like about doing things this way versus, you know, being exact on the measurements, is because you can control the amount of salt, which we all need to pay attention to, and pepper and spices and things like that. And if you like more spicy food, you can certainly do that. You know, that's great. Go for it. All right. So I'm also going to make a little Greek seasoning. So I'm going to take some, there we go, some fresh dill. This is what this is, just a little dill that I chopped up. And I've got a little bit more salt, just a little bit. I'm going to put those two together. I've got some pepper here. Put that in there. And then I've got oregano. On that recipe sheet, I gave you this measurements, and then I also gave you a recipe for another Greek seasoning that you can use. This one just works just fine. And then you can also, if you want to go to the store and go to the spice aisle, they have Greek seasonings there too. But use your favorite seasoning. You don't have to necessarily do what we have here. So you can just, you know, use your own, whatever feels good, or whatever you have in your pantry at the time. All right, so I've got some zucchini. This would be a really good recipe to do when, you know, in the springtime, when the fruits and vegetables, you guys have those great farmers markets up there in Wake, when they're ready to go. And I've got a little bit of yellow squash. And that, I mean, you know, a lot of times you guys have gardens. I know in your centers, we visited lots of centers that had gardens as well. And then I got some red and green. I got some tricolored peppers. I'm gonna swap this in here.
And John, it's always funny because, like, you know, of course, the squash and zucchini, like, you know, they grow like mad. So everybody's always, the people who grow them are always looking for different recipes.
Yep.
So that's a great addition to their repertoire to.
Yeah, and you can, you know, I'm doing this kind of in a Greek fashion, but you could do a Southwest version if you wanted to add a little chili powder to it. You don't have to necessarily do it the way I'm doing it, but the vegetables can, you know, they adapt really well to a lot of different things. So you could season it the way you feel like it would work. I'm gonna stick some, I got some tricolored tomatoes. I'm gonna lay those around. I'm trying to keep an even layer. Probably have more than my sheet pan will hold, but that's okay. You can kind of crunch them together. Doesn't really bother it too much. And then I'm gonna kind of add a little olive oil to my vegetables, and then I'm gonna sprinkle on that seasoning mix that I made. I love to melt tomatoes in my dishes. I think that's really fun. All right. Olive oil. So I just got about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm just gonna just kind of drizzle that over my veg and my chicken. Just kind of make sure everybody gets it. I'm gonna rub it around a little bit. And rub that in. Make sure that kind of all that going on. If you have to add some more, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Olive oil is a healthy fat. I use avocado oil too a lot, so I just happen to grab the olive oil first tonight. But, both of those are healthy oils. All right. Now I'm going to take my seasoning that I just mixed, what you guys saw me do. And this is salt, pepper, fresh dill, and oregano, those are really key Middle Eastern or Mediterranean spices. You could also add some marjoram if you have it. That's another good one to use. And I'm just going to sprinkle this all over my vegetables and my chicken. I'm going to use it all up. There's nothing bad in this. And this is going to cook a while. So I want to get my vegetables nice and tender and my chicken done. This is why you want to make sure that your chicken is about even. So if you have those big, heavy fat breasts, just pound them out flat. Mine just were already that way, so you don't have to worry about that too much. like I said, you can use any kind of spices that you want to use. I do a lot of Latin cooking, so I could do this with some adobo or something like that, Tajin. Indian, you could actually sprinkle a little curry powder on it. It would be fun. All right. Here we go. One meal, all in one sheet pan. We're gonna go pop this one in the oven. The recipe called for 375, which we are, and this cooks in about 25 minutes, and that's about right. So we're not gonna do anything else to it. We're just gonna go pop this one in the oven with our pie. Our pie's already starting to brown and bubble. So that's why I said, it says cook for 45 minutes. I was a little cautious about that, so I'm already looking at it. And I think when it rolls down to about 20, we'll be ready to take that out. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody still with me? And put anybody to sleep yet? Anybody cooking along with us? That's okay if you're not. I mean, that's fine.
I am, John.
Are you?
Yes.
Is that Yvonne?
I cheated a little bit and started my salmon, but
Okay, that's okay. All right. Yvonne is my star. We've been working together for a long time. All right, we'll do the salmon next. Gotta get my bowl. All right, so we're gonna do the salmon. I'm gonna do that in the baking pan. So I just got me a bowl. Let's see, where are we? Okay. There we go. So I've already blown through half my recipes and we're at 7 o'clock. I love it. All right, so I want to show you my salmon. I picked up 2 pieces of salmon this week. I love being down here at the coast because we do get fresher seafood. I think salmon's not native to North Carolina, but we still get it because I think there's fish folks, that have it on their trucks or whatever. So I've got 2 pieces here. This was one whole side or half a side actually. And I'm going to cut these in half. One's a little bit thicker than the other, so I got to be kind of careful. The skin is on. But it's really beautiful, fresh. You want this to be firm, okay, and not, already flaking apart. You want it to smell. It has just a little bit of a salmon smell, but not a large salmon smell. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut these in half. And I'm going to leave the skin on. I'm not a huge fan of the skin on salmon, but it's okay.
Hey, John, can I throw out, because I know we have a lot of people that are, maybe everybody tonight is actually from a childcare program. And I know people are probably thinking, oh, salmon, I'm not sure we're going to be able to serve that to the children. And I always like to throw out, I have some centers who really do budget for salmon, and how they do that is that they will have like days where they have a bean day or or they'll do like a quiche. So they're using eggs. And so, they just decide that that's just something that they want to do occasionally. And so they budget it in by doing all these other extra things and what to use salmon. So I just like to throw that out there because I know some people are thinking, oh, that's not something we're gonna be able to afford to do with a large number of children. But
and I debated on that recipe too, but it's such a healthy item. And like you said, we've introduced Meatless Mondays, to centers and, help them with the budget. And there are, I bought these out of the fish case, but there are frozen, individually wrapped portions of salmon that are pretty, pretty affordable. So I think you could, if you had to make, 20 or 30 portions of this, you could still do it, but you would have to, you're right, you'd have to budget for it. So I'm going to grab a paper towel. I know places like Sam's and Costco sell it in their frozen section already.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's just that people are making the decision to want to do these kind of things and serve, some fish options that are good. And so it's just a matter of thinking, oh, I can't serve fish every day.
No.
Filet mignon.
think,
But you could decide, to be able to look at your budget and say, or your menus and say, oh, this is where we could save a few bucks. So we could do
Yeah.
like a couple days a month with,
And you're seeing even younger kids now, they're eating less red meat. So here's another alternative. I like doing, we've done fish tacos here too.
Oh,
But,
definitely.
there's other ways, and salmon is just so healthy. I'm gonna slice this into 2 portions, so I'm gonna make 4. I wanna make sure I get it all the way through. That skin is just, really tough, really thick. My knife is really, really dull. So I may even take the skin off.
John, you might also want to mention that frozen is just as good as fresh.
Absolutely.
And so, that might also factor into the cost.
Yeah, that absolutely is true. So, for these kinds of things, fish, frozen is just fine. Absolutely. And okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this other one right down the back side here. This one's not as thick. I tried to get them as thick as I could, but I got them all off of one side. So, and so we eat a lot of salmon at my house. And I'm putting these in I'll show you. So I'm just using a little glass baking dish for these guys. So I was going to keep my workspace clean tonight. So far, I'm doing good. All right. I need to grab a little bowl. We're going to make a little dressing here. So I'm going to take some olive oil. Just make sure I don't leave anything out. Yep. So I got about a tablespoon of that's more than that. About 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up brushing the fish with that. And some lemon juice. Lots of lemons in Mediterranean or Greek cooking. They use a lot of lemons because they grow it. I want because I don't want to miss something. That's what I'm trying to do. I got some more fresh dill. Some more fresh dill. I love dill. I try to grow dill at my house, but we're so hot that it'll come up and it'll grow for a little bit. And if I don't pick it, it dies like the next day. So it's never good for me. I've got some more oregano, again, a staple in Mediterranean cooking. And lemon juice dill, some garlic, of course. And feel free to change these around, do them a little differently, really however you want to do them. And a little pinch of salt. I'm not doing a lot of salt in this as usual. And then a little pepper. And then I'm going to mix this up. And I've got a nice little coating for my fish. I just want to mix that up really good. It's real pretty. Let me wash my brush. So Yvonne, did you make this way, or did you change it up a little bit, or how did you go about it?
I did it with the way the recipe had it.
Oh, okay. How was it?
It's turning, well, I have it in the oven now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it looked good.
Yeah. So what we want to do, I have to check, make sure I see you guys. I'm just going to cover this really, really good. And I'm going to end up at the end, I'm going to pour whatever's left over the top of it, after I add my veggies. Okay. So I'm going to now add my veggies. I'm going to scatter. I got about 2-3 Roma tomatoes that I diced, cleaned, peeled and diced. I didn't peel, I seeded, de-seeded. I like to keep peels on my tomatoes. A little red onion, just a little bit. Like I said, I've got 2 people in my house that just absolutely cannot eat onions. So I don't cook with a lot of them, but I think it's pretty, so we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna add some black olives. Again, another staple. If you don't like them, like me, don't do them. Okay. Actually, I don't mind olives at all, really. And then I'm gonna add some feta. My kids used to go, oh, it's stinky cheese. No, it's not stinky, it's just kind of salty. This is another reason why I don't use a lot of salt if I'm going to use something like a cojito or feta cheese. There's no need for me to add a lot of salt to the dish itself. So think about that when you're making something with cheese in it. Cheese has a fair amount of salt. All right, this one's going to get about 20 minutes. I think that's real pretty as it is. I got a little basil I'm going to chop up. Actually, I think I'm just going to tear it. So I've got some fresh basil. I love the smell and the flavor of fresh basil. Caprese salads are awesome. So I'm just going to tear this because it'll be pretty. Right over the top. Then we're going to bake this off for about 20 minutes. And then will be how it is, and then we'll serve it up. So I'm going to go throw this in the oven. I think my pie is pretty close. There we go. So the pie's still cooking. It's got about 9 more minutes, according to the timer. All right, I'm going to take a quick second and straighten up and clean up a little bit. You guys have any questions, comments? While I do that, feel free to ask me anything.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out another, like, so I love feta, and I know, like, personally I would use it at my house, but again, I know it's a little bit more expensive. Would there be another cheese that you could use that wouldn't be like so expensive, or
Yeah,
kids would like a little bit more?
you could do something like a mozzarella
Okay,
if you wanted to, it'd be fine.
okay. I know it probably would change the taste maybe a little bit, but
A little bit, but not terrible. Not terrible. You can also, I mean, cojito would work, or which is a lot of times less expensive, or ensada, which is another Mexican cheese, would work. But mozzarella would be my, the shredded mozz that you can get in the pack would be where I'd go with that if you didn't want to do feta. All right. The chicken is cooking good. My salmon is in. The rest of that marinade on it. When I bring this out, I'm going to give it a squeeze of lemon right over the top of the fish. And we'll plate that up. All right. I'm going to clean up here. I want to wipe this down since I've handled chicken and fish. I don't mean to walk away from y'all. It's just where things are in my kitchen. All right. So from here on out, we're not having to cook. We've got all our dinner in the oven, and it's just a matter of waiting till they're done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make 2 salads that can go with either one of these. If you know me, you know I'm big on it, and Yvonne will tell you this, I'm big on the quinoa. So we're going to do a quinoa tabbouleh. Tabbouleh is a Middle Eastern salad full of lots of cool stuff, but we're adding quinoa to it. Again, this is also something that's not terribly, this is very cost effective. You get a lot out of it. You don't have to go out and get exotic ingredients. Basically, it's the key to any good tabbouleh is fresh parsley, which I just bought a bunch. a bunch, literally a bunch, about a buck and a half really, and just pull the stems off of it. I didn't even do it really all that well. And just rough chopped it. So we're gonna add that. We're gonna start with our, I've already cooked off my quinoa. I have over here. Cooked that earlier today. You want your quinoa to be cool. Has everybody cooked quinoa before? If you haven't, that's okay. I'll tell you what. If you haven't used quinoa, please try it. It's one of the ancient grains. It is a full-on protein. It's very healthy, and you can put it in just about anything. If you make meatloaf, you can put it in meatloaf. You can make soup. You can make salads. You can put quinoa in anything, just about. You can put it in oatmeal, do overnight oats with. You can actually do this with some overnight oats and mix it in with it. There's just tons of way to get extra protein into your diet or your kids' diet. Doesn't have any taste, has a little bit of texture, but that's okay. And it comes, this is what they call tricolor. I don't know if you guys can see that. But it also comes in white, red, and black individually. This is a mix of all three. I like to use the tricolor because it just is more interesting to me. White's kind of boring, and red's kind of boring, so on. So I made that pot. I let it cool. You don't want to put this together hot. This is a cold salad, so we'll go from there. So we're going to make the dressing first in this case, and then we'll assemble. Everything. Again, another really quick salad that you can make, and it's full. I mean, this could make a meal really, if you wanted to, or you could add a slice of chicken or something like that to it. So I'm going to squeeze I got some lemon juice here. That's the juice of about a lemon, full lemon. I'll put that in there. Then I got some olive oil. Notice my trend here. Yeah. Or avocado oil would work fine. Canola oil, you don't get the flavor, but it'd be okay. Some garlic. And again, just a dab of salt. That's it. That's the dressing. And the reason why I'm whisking that, I need that lemon juice to emulsify with that oil. If I set this down, you've seen Italian dressing in the stores, it'll separate. So what I want to do is I want to whisk this to get it really nice and put together. And then I'm going to make my salad, and then I'll probably whisk it again. Okay. So I've diced a cucumber. Cucumber is probably my favorite vegetable. I mean, I could eat just a bowl of them like that. So I took some English cucumber. I didn't peel them. I don't like to peel them. We're going to make some tzatziki sauce in a minute, and I did peel those, but I just eat them like that. And you can do them any way you want. If you don't like the peels, that's okay. Let me get this out of the way. Some people do, some people don't. No judging. We don't judge you. All right. Again, some more tomatoes, diced tomatoes, really pretty. And then my quinoa. So then I'm going to add, this was a cup of quinoa uncooked. It's going to make about 2 cups full when it's done. And you can use more, you can use less, whatever you feel like doing. I had enough to make a full cup, like the recipe said, and so that's what I'm going to do. There we go. Once you get it distributed through the parsley, you don't hardly even see it. But quinoa is amazing. You can make quinoa bites that look like tater tots. Maybe we'll do that one day. There's lots of things you can do with it. It's so versatile. It is one of the ancient grains. It gets a mention in the Bible, along with arameth, farro, All those are what we call ancient grains. They've been around that long. All right. Okay, last thing. I'm gonna re-whisk my dressing. And that's not a lot. That's probably about a half a cup. Yeah. And that's all you want. You don't want to drown it in the dressing. So I'm gonna pour that over this. I'm gonna give it another toss, and then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator, and we'll bring it back out when we plate. All right, nice and mixed.
It looks really pretty too.
It is really pretty.
Yeah.
It smells
The tomato.
amazing because you got the dill. I mean, you got the parsley. I don't know if you ever chop up a bunch of curly parsley. My whole living room, and because my living room's on the other side of my kitchen, my whole house kitchen area smelled really good today when I was doing this. So, and there we go. Well, we got a timer going on, so we're going to pull something out, or we're going to go check anyway. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so I just went and checked on my spinach pie, and it's just about ready. I'll pull that out in just a second. I just gave it a few more minutes just to brown up. Oops. I want to switch back over. Oh, my computer does weird things on me sometimes. Okay. There we go. All right, so we've got our quinoa tabbouleh. I'm going to go put this in the cooler, also known as my refrigerator. I hope I will. All right, let's get started on our next salad. In Mediterranean cooking, Middle Eastern and Mediterranean cooking in general, they eat a lot of salad. They eat a lot of different kinds of salad. That one was made with parsley. Our next one's going to be made basically with chickpeas. So these are really good ways to get fresh vegetables in the center's diets without a lot of expense. This is a Mid-Eastern chickpea salad, or also known as Israeli salad, or sometimes called, okay, I'll think about it as I'm going. So let me flip over here, back to the kitchen. You guys don't need this. There we go. All right, so what we have here today is we've got a little more feta. We've got some more parsley, but not as much. A little more onion, tomatoes. This is red bell pepper and cucumbers again. You can also use zucchini if you wanted to, it'd be fine. A little olive oil will make a dressing, and garlic, and so on. So let's get this one going. Okay. So basically, this is just a dump and run. I mean, this is nothing more than just getting it all in the bowl. So I've got 2 cans of chickpeas, garbanzo beans, no salt added, or low sodium if you can find them. I rinsed them, I drained them and I rinsed them. I'm gonna put those in my bowl. And then I'm just gonna start adding all my stuff. This is really good. If you do food prep, this is a great way to do this. Red bell pepper. Again, we're eating with our eyes. It's super colorful. Some multicolored tomatoes. You could use cherry tomatoes or diced tomatoes. Again, I'm just using what I have around the house. All right, and a pinch or 2. I'm not going to do the whole recipe of red onion because, like I said, I got people in my house that have onion issues. So I'm just going to use a little bit. We eat this food. Believe me, we eat. They're already wanting to know what time we eat. I took about a half a bunch of parsley when I was making my other salad. I saved a little bit, just throw that in there. And you can add other vegetables to this if you wanted to. You could add broccoli, you could add pretty much anything you want, whatever you have on hand. This is a good way to clean out your refrigerator. All right, so there's our salad. We'll toss that in a second. Again, I want to make a real quick dressing. Okay, go ahead and put the feta in there. Go ahead and put some feta in there. Again, you could use whatever cheese. Use mozzarella. You could get the little balls of mozzarella and put in this. I'm gonna go ahead and put my feta in here because this is what I got. But use whatever makes sense to you in your situation. Cheddar cheese, that's fine too. That works. All right. So my vinaigrette is real easy. Let me get this out of the way so you can see me mix this vinaigrette up. So I got, again, about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna add the juice of about a half a lemon. Remember, we're gonna make an emulsified mixture here. And then I got a little bit of salt, again, not much, because I'm using the feta cheese, so I don't need to put a little salt, little pepper. And then I got, I'm going to add a little splash. Actually, this is the secret ingredient. I'm going to add a little honey, just a splash. Not even a full teaspoon. And then some Dijon mustard. Now this is going to be a little more, this is going to have a little more tang and flavor to it. You could use just oil and vinegar. You could use Italian dressing would be just fine in this as well. So use what you have on hand. Okay, let me grab a whisk. All right, so we're going to whisk this together. And what we're going to create is, like we said before, we're going to create an emulsion. So what you'll see is the oil and the vinegar, the oil and the lemon juice and the mustard are going to all kind of come together. Kind of the same way you make mayonnaise. Called an emulsion. See now, it's all blended. That looks really good. It's really good. And you can't go not this one. It's hiding behind the lemon. You can't whisk this enough because as soon as you stop, it's going to start to kind of separate a little bit. All right, here we go. We'll get this out of the way. Put this together. Beautiful salad. I love going into the some of the Middle Eastern delis. We have a couple down here in Wilmington, and they just have big bowls of this out in their cases. And you just say, I want the fattoush, or I want the baba ganoush, or I want the tabbouleh. And this is what it looks like, and they just give you a big scoop of it in a cup. So I'm going to dress this now, toss it, and we'll refrigerate this one too. This one's going to have a little more dressing on it because we want to cover. Chickpeas don't have a ton of flavor on their own, so we want to kind of put some flavor into the dressing so that we can. And this will last, a week, maybe 10 days. The acid will start breaking down some of the veggies and get a little soft. There's that. This is, again, another high protein item. Chickpeas are full of protein. You're getting the fresh veggies with the cucumbers and the tomatoes. You're getting a little bit of honey, a little bit of sweet, and then, like I said, cheese of your choice. Okay, beautiful. We've made some awesome food tonight, guys. Hope you take some time and make some of this stuff with me. All right, I'm gonna go get my spinach pie. It is done. I'll show that. What that looks like. All right. There's our spinach pie. Not quite perfect, but pretty close. Probably got. Our chicken will come out next. But we'll let this cool down a little bit. And then we'll, I think it's set pretty, oh yeah, it's set really nice. That looks really good. I like it. And we'll just slice this into wedges, just like a regular pie. And we'll serve it up. So I'm gonna set this over and let it cool. All right. Like I said, by the time I got down to the last couple recipes, I'm working at about 2 square feet of space. So I'm going to take a minute and collect all my stuff. Hey, Lynn, do you want to, or do we know what the, do you have right off the top of your head what our next class is and where it will be and when it will be?
I do. Hold on 1 second.
Thought you could.
So it's March 15th. And it's the Cooking with the Authors one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. Now, okay, I do need to double check the time. I don't have that on my chart that I'm looking at.
Okay. It's in my phone. My phone's across the room. So
Yeah, I need to. I'll double check that and we'll clarify it.
I did put them all in my phone after this one. So I wouldn't mess up again. I live and die in my phone, guys. All right. So to kind of recap, yeah, Cooking with Authors. We do this in March about every year. And we cover what this class is about is there's a lot of authors that wrote about food or something related to food. Eric Carle is the one that sticks with me the most. And he did The Hungry Caterpillar. And there's another book, and I don't remember the author, it was like Francis cooks with bread and jam, eats bread and jam. We do a little bit of Dr. Seuss just because we do. We don't do a lot. And then we'll do a couple. I've done Stone Soup before in a class for that.
I think we did that last time.
I think we did, yeah. But we'll do some new ones. I'm sure there's some new books out. I just need to go. I need to put a call into Pam and have her give me some ideas on that one. But yeah, so
I did clarify. So I did double check it. So it's March 15th from 12:30 to 2.
Okay.
It's what we're looking at.
Okay, cool. I have it in my phone, so I know I'll get it right this time. What we want to do with those, the whole reason we do them that way is so that because you guys are reading stories to the children, and we want to be able to maybe draw good nutrition and good nutrition habits back to those stories. So like say you're cooking Stone Soup, or you're reading Stone Soup to the children, which is one of my very favorite. It's one of the very first stories way back 150 years ago that I remember as a young child. So then for lunch, you guys could actually have something similar. I have a recipe. We've done it before. The Hungry Caterpillar, there's a book called Lunch. So what it does is like, you'll know these recipes and you'll be able to do these recipes, and then you can tie it back into, into story time. So that's kind of cool. And like I said, we'll do 3 or 4 authors that night, themed for the book. I may even get Pam to come read stories while we're doing it. We did that once before. Anyway, all right. So I'm just kind of peddling a little bit before my. I think I got about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start my last recipe. And you guys go ahead. You guys get the gyros at the Greek restaurants, or the chicken pitas, which is one of my favorites. It always comes with the tzatziki sauce. Well, I'm gonna show you guys how to make tzatziki sauce because one, you can control what's in it, and two, it's a lot cheaper. Okay, so really simple. Let me grab a bowl once again.
This is like my all-time favorite. So I'm so excited to be able to make this at home now.
I love tzatziki sauce.
I do
put it-
too.
I put it on a bologna sandwich.
I-
All right. Oh, good, really? So I got a cup here of Greek yogurt, plain, full fat Greek yogurt. And I'm just gonna dump that right in there. This is not hard. It's not hard at all, and it uses a lot of the same ingredients that we've been using. Okay. Lemon, garlic, dill, those are mainstays in Mediterranean cooking. Or Greek. So, you know, when I say Mediterranean, northern Italy is part of the Mediterranean that area, Majorca, some of those places, and then Middle Eastern. Okay. I took an English cucumber and I peeled it because I don't like peels in my tzatziki. And then I just took a little teaspoon and I just scooped out the middle. So I'm gonna take a box grater and I'm just gonna, and you can do this if you have a food processor. Can't see what I'm doing. I didn't want to do this in advance. I wanted you guys to see it. There we go. So you just want to basically pulverize the cucumber. And it's okay if you have little pieces of cucumber in it. I like it that way. You just want to, and you could do this you could throw all this in the food processor and do it if you wanted to. It'd be fine. But I wanted to show you how we grind it all up. Now your cucumber is going to have a lot of water in it. And if you wanted to do this in a separate bowl and squeeze out some of the water, that's okay. You can do that. I think the instructions actually call for that, but I like just doing it and just putting it all in there together. And you can leave it as chunky as you want. I like mine kind of all mixed up. I make this in the summertime, and we do pitas, and I'll grill some chicken. Then I just marinate in Italian seasoning and Italian dressing, low fat, low sodium Italian dressing. And then we just have lunch. We have lunch or dinner that we cut some tomatoes.
Oh. I've always wondered, I mean, I like mine chunky too. So, I mean, I've made it a couple of times, but it's always like, well, that's not how it is when I get it at a restaurant. So, okay, I'm glad to see this.
Well, they probably do it. A commercial tzatziki's been made in a food processor, and it's going to be seasoned.
Yeah.
This is homemade, and like I said, feel free to do this in a food processor. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes I make it like it's almost like a dip. So,
Yeah, and what I'm doing is since I'm not squeezing out the water in the cucumbers, it'll thin this out a little bit. But if you wanted it to be thicker, go ahead and do your cucumbers in a different bowl and then wrap a paper towel around it and just squeeze out the water like we did with the spinach. Okay, this is a whole cucumber. Like I said, I could eat cucumbers for lunch and dinner. I don't know why. I like them so much. We used to grow them and we just go out. I would just go out when I was a kid, go down to my grandmother's and she did cucumbers all the time. And we just go out there and grab one off the vine and eat. One more piece. I really wanted you to see me doing this versus me just doing it and then dumping it all together. And you can make it, like I said, I mean, you can make this as chunky as you like. If you like the cucumbers in it, leave it a little chunky. If you like it smooth and creamy, put it in a food processor. So I'm going to add a little garlic again, just a little bit. My wife's going to love me tonight. And a little lemon juice. That's about I might add a little more lemon juice because I have a piece right here. I'm just going to squeeze that in there. And then the best part is the dill, fresh dill. Can't have enough dill. This is what makes the tzatziki awesome. And then we're just going to, let me stir this a little bit first before I just get it. Like I said, this is going to be, we're going to put this on our pitas when our chicken is done. And then we're going to, and see, it's a little thin because the water from the cucumbers, I didn't try to squish that out. And that's okay. I don't really care to. And this yogurt has sat out a little bit today. So it's probably, if I put this in the refrigerator, it would tighten back up. And we just want to get all those flavors. This would be so much better tomorrow than it is today. That dill will break down into it. The cucumbers will too. That's it. And just in time for something to come out of it. Let's see what we got. Okay. So I just went and checked on everything. I need about 5 more minutes. The salmon will come on out because you don't need to cook that as long. I'm trying to get my veggies to get good and done. So I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator. I'm gonna bring out some plates and we'll start kind of plating things up as soon as the chicken comes out. I'm gonna let it rest. We'll let the chicken rest for a minute, and then we will. We're gonna slice it and put it in our pita. And you could serve it certainly just straight off the pan, but I want to do something a little different. You could make this into a wrap if you wanted to, a chicken veggie wrap, and put the tzatziki on it. Now I've got some pita bread here, some whole wheat pita bread. There you go. So I'm going to take this and cut them in half. Again, this is kind of optional. You don't have to do this at all. But I think it's kind of a cool way to eat. I'm gonna take a couple.
Well, I always think kids like the little pocket, pita. It's
Yeah.
fun.
And that makes,
It's different than a sandwich.
right. They think they're eating something kind of, excuse me, exotic, which is fine. It's kind of okay. So let me, I'll let you see what I'm doing here. Okay. There we go. So these are just pitas that you got in the store. I've had them a while, so I don't necessarily know they're going to open up. But we'll give it a try. If not, we'll make a pita sandwich. Oh, yeah. So there you go. We're going to stuff that with the chicken and the veggies, and then we're going to top it with our tzatziki. You could put hummus down in there if you wanted to get really cool. I almost had you guys making hummus tonight. Maybe we'll do that another time. So that's just a little pita pocket. Really good. These are whole wheat. They do make gluten-free also. This is by, I'll give you the bag. I don't know if you can see it pretty good. Tufaya. No trans fat, low cholesterol, 100% whole wheat, healthy enough. I think we'll do 4 and then we'll save the rest. You can put your salmon, you actually can put salmon in here too if you wanted to. Anything will go in a pita. All right. Less than a minute. Anybody have any questions Anybody like to make specific Mediterranean dishes that we could talk about?
John,
Yeah,
I didn't know where to find the puff pastry. So what could I use as a substitute for the puff pastry and the spinach pie?
okay. So the puff pastry is going to be in your frozen section where the desserts are. It's usually down in the bottom.
Okay,
But you could make a pie dough if you wanted to. You could, yeah, you could use you get the two frozen pie shells, right?
Yeah.
I think you've seen us do that. You could put it in that and then take the other one and put it over the top of it. Turn it out of the pan and just kind of make a top like that. You can make your own pie dough. You could buy the pie dough, in the boxes.
Okay,
Any of those will work. The puff pastry is more traditional, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it. Okay.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, if you got, but looking where the frozen desserts are, that's typically where it is.
okay,
Okay. All right. And then you can make all kind of other stuff with it. You get 2 sheets. That was one out of the box. And then you can take it and, put some, bake it off and put some jam on it and cut it into squares or some fruit, sauteed some apples and just make it kind of like a turnover with it. There's all kinds of things you can do with them. So it's, don't just think you got to buy it just for that. There's lots of cool things you can do with puff pastry. You can make a chicken pot pie and use that for your top. Oh, that's really good. Okay, I got something coming out. Let's see what it is. I think I'm going to bring the sand. Yep. All right, flip back to this. Actually, I think they're both done. All right, so here's my salmon. All done. Nice and flaky, looking really good. My tomatoes have melted a little bit. My feta has done a good job. I'm going to plate that up. And then we're going to get out our sheet pan chicken. Also done. I believe. So here's my sheet pan chicken. I'm going to give that a temp real quick to make sure it's really done. And what do we temp our chicken to? Anyone? Come on now. What's the temp on chicken when we know it's done? 165. That's how we know our chicken is done. Be right back. I'll get a thermometer that works. Okay, sorry about that. I think they've been using my thermometers for something wrong. All right, so I'm gonna put. Oh yeah, we're good. We're way good. We're at about 170 for all of these, which is perfect. All right. So we're gonna let that chill for a minute. Just sit where it's at. We'll get our salads out. We'll get some plates. The salmon looks really good. All right. So let's plate up. What I want to use? I think I'm going to use. My special plates tonight. All right. I'm going to put these over here for a second. I'm going to scoop out some chicken and cut it, and then I'll just plate up the rest of it. So I'll do it both ways so you can see. I'm going to put a piece on my cutting board, and I'll slice that in just a second. Which I'll just do Okay, a little piece right here. Smells amazing. Piece there. And then we will scoop our veggies. Now you can mix them all up if you want. Need a bigger spoon, John. I love melted, I call them melted tomatoes, but pan roasted tomatoes. I just think those are so good. Okay, there's our chicken with our veggies. And I'll make a pita in just a second. Get some of our salads out. Then I'm going to get my salmon. I'm most excited about that. We've got a piece of got a lemon around here somewhere. Okay, didn't get that on camera. Let me do this. All right, here's my salmon right there. Then we'll go get our salad. So I'll put some of these tomatoes on there because I love those. And if I wanted to sprinkle some more fresh parsley on that, that would be fine. I'll give you guys 2 pieces since you're company. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's get some of our salads out. I think on our salmon, we'll put our chickpea salad. Again, right before you serve it, give it a stir. Okay, remember we talked about the dressing. You just want to stir that up really good. I'm going to lay that down beside the salad or the salmon. Okay, cool. Oh, look at the colors on that, guys. Got to cut our pie too. All right, so let me get the other one. We're going to put that with the chicken. Either one of these salads would be fine with the other, whichever one you like. This is some tabbouleh, quinoa tabbouleh. So we'll put that with this one. Yeah, my refrigerator salad on that one. There is that. And then I'm going to slice up the chicken, cut a piece of pie. Let's do that next. Like I said, I end up working at about 2 square feet by the time I'm done with these classes. All right. Yes, my refrigerator there is a. All right, we'll set these out of the way too, so, and then we'll get pictures of everything for you guys. All right, so here is our beautiful, beautiful spinach pie. Can't wait to delve into this. So I'm just going to cut a wedge. A little too big. So there's the spinach pie. We'll lay that there. And we'll use the other side for our chicken and veggie pita. Nice pita's down. You guys see what I'm doing?
Hey, on the spinach pie, can you substitute something else for the cottage cheese?
Wow. You don't like it or can't eat it?
I can't eat it.
Okay, that's fine.
No, I was just wondering.
I can't, I mean, maybe cream cheese, could you eat that?
'Cause
Is there a dairy issue, Portia?
No, I just can't eat it.
Okay,
I've been
all right.
trying to.
Okay.
I know I've been trying to.
I got you. You can do cream cheese with it if you like, if you can do that. Maybe use a light cream cheese. That would work.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because it looked good now.
yeah. It's the same way, you know, you could make a spinach dip. and
Okay.
That uses,
Yeah.
that uses cream cheese.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. That was a great question. You just about stumped me there. And that's great. And that really is rare because I usually have a bluff for everything. All right, I'm gonna get veggies.
I'm curious, Portia, is it because of the texture of it?
I've been trying to eat it because I'm trying to cut back on certain, but no, I just can't eat it. I get to the
It's a texture thing. I totally get you. Yeah, absolutely. And they make, Portia, they make almost a no curd or a very low curd
Okay.
cottage cheese where you don't even see the little curds in it.
Okay.
Try that. I don't think Greek yogurt would work. I think it would break down too quick.
Yeah.
But I think you could use like a Neuchâtel or a farmer's cheese or light cream cheese. I think it would work fine.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try.
All right, so I've cut my chicken up, and I'm gonna spoon on some veggies like that, and then I'm gonna go get my tzatziki. And I'm just gonna lay that right there. Get my tzatziki out. Normally, I would let that tzatziki sit a little bit longer, but we're doing pretty good on time. So I want to make sure. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and just spoon it right on the top. God, by the way, I'm starving. Okay. So as soon as I turn this camera off, Chef John will throw down. So I'll make that. And we'll do another one. We'll put some other veg. And I could have used any of my salads in here as well. But I like these veggies. I like how they turned out. They're just cooked through. They're nice and they're still got a little crispness to them, but they're cooked. And I like that. And so I will do this one same way. Stirring up my tzatziki. Tomorrow, this tzatziki will be phenomenal.
Oh, see, I even use it like to drizzle on top of my everything.
Yeah,
Like
you can put it on top
salads, on the
Yeah.
salmon. It
Yeah,
would be on everything.
It would go good on the salmon. I'm going to take some pictures in a little bit, so I didn't want to drown it. You're absolutely right. Okay.
Oh,
All right. So let me wrap her up. We have accomplished. I have no idea. You know what? I always think I'm going to be over on time. I'm always not. All right. So if you're not full screen, you should be, because this is just amazing, amazing food. Here is our salmon done in Greek style with Greek seasoning, tomatoes, and black olives. Again, any of that you don't want to add, don't add. With a chickpea salad made with parsley, diced cucumbers, tomatoes, and 2 cans of no salt added chickpeas or garbanzo beans. We have our chicken in pitas, chicken and vegetables, and then we have our spinach pie. I should probably put that on the plate by itself. And then lastly, we have our chicken done a different way, just a baked chicken breast with the seasoning that we put on it, the marinade, our pan roasted vegetables. That was all one meal, all in one pan, and you're ready to eat. About 25 minutes, start to finish. And then a nice quinoa tabbouleh. So that's what we've done tonight, and we have accomplished a ton of food. And I'm so happy that it turned out the way it did. Any questions, comments, concerns? Ask me anything. This is your time. Let's play Stump the Chef again, like Corsa did. Yvonne, what do you think? You got yours out of the oven?
Yes, I've taken it out, and what I did, instead of using the tomatoes and with the salmon, I did the vegetables.
Okay, cool. Another good
So,
way to do it.
yeah,
Absolutely. You use the vegetables from the chicken in with, and you pan roasted it that way, or sheet pan roasted it?
Right. I sheet pan roasted the
Nice.
vegetables with, and I used the sauce that was with the that you had for the chicken.
Yeah.
You know,
Put
I
that
used
on
that
the
for
salmon.
vegetables.
See, that's, now you have learned well. So Yvonne, just so y'all know, Yvonne and I go way back. She was one of my very first students back in Charlotte, and she's been to a lot of my classes, and she knows how I cook, and she's following along as we go. And so she basically, what she did was she took pieces out of each recipe and did her salmon. So she used the vegetables that we put in the chicken with her salmon, and she used the sauce from the chicken on the salmon. That's amazing. I think that's great. And it's that versatile. The stuff I gave you, you can switch it around really, really easy. And it's going to work just fine. That's one of the reasons why I picked these recipes, was so that, one, they're not terribly at all expensive. They're usually things that you're going to have on hand anyway, or you can get pretty quickly. The salmon is going to be the most expensive piece, and you can get those in frozen pieces. The chicken's not terribly, well, I say that now, but you know, God knows what prices have gone up. The vegetables, the chickpeas weren't expensive. Tomatoes, especially with spring coming, was another reason why I wanted to do these. With spring coming, you're going to have, if you guys are growing gardens at your centers, you know, grow some zucchini and grow some cucumbers and grow some squash, and then pull that stuff out and make the stuff. And then you don't, you know, you're not spending a ton of your food budget with it. All right.
Well, we actually have a question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh.
No. Somebody's got their hand raised.
Yes, it's me, Kanita.
Hey,
I have
Kanita.
a quick hi. Everything looks awesome. I will be trying these dishes. I could not find everything,
Okay.
but I wanted to ask you the marjoram or the Greek, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
Yes.
there's like
Yep.
okay, the marjoram. Can that be replaced with something else if we can't find that particular spice?
Yeah. Thyme.
Okay.
Ground thyme, or even fresh thyme would be fine.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so
much.
much.
It is a little hard. I don't remember seeing it in the store. You notice I made kind of I didn't use that. I just gave you that recipe. If you want to go out and make it, and you can make that and keep it in a jar and shake it on stuff. It's really good. But what we used was kind of an alternative to that. So yeah, I mean, you know, thyme would work good. Rosemary would be a little strong. If I were going to use rosemary, I'd put it in the chicken because it goes well with chicken. But I wouldn't put it on the salmon. It would overpower.
But not on the salmon. Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the class. What else we got?
Okay, so while y'all are thinking about your questions, okay, I'm gonna let Chef John choose a number, and that's how we're gonna do our door prize tonight. So whoever wins, if you'll put your address, and so I'll either drop it off at your program or I'll mail it to you. It all depends on where you're located, and what I decide to send you. We have 10 people. So
a number between 1 and 10.
That's exactly right.
6.
Okay. Margarita Mays.
Margarita.
So Margarita, I can leave it at the center, or I can send it to you. You decide. And you just put it in the chat box just to let me know which one. But I will get that. As you could hear earlier, I'm a little slow about getting this stuff done. I promise you, I do get it to you. I may be a little slow, but it will come to you. And I am putting the evaluation in the chat box. So if you'll go do that as well, and we'll get those, we'll get and I need to get those to you, John, so you can see those as well. You need to see those. Then we'll get the training certificates to you, hopefully no later than like early. Today is Tuesday, so hopefully by the end of the week, actually. It's earlier in the week than later. So I was about to say next week, but
I
it's
understand.
Tuesday.
We are so on the same page.
But we are so excited. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I don't want to end if people have questions, but I mean, these have been great
Uh-oh.
recipes and very good things, and adding some flavors.
Couple things just for me. If you're in Facebook, go to Healthy Families, Healthy Futures. Our Facebook page is there. Also, you can reach me there too. Also, I have a Facebook page, Chef John Latour. It's Chef John is one word, because Facebook makes you do that. But if you have any questions, you can also get me at healthyfamilies37@gmail. And I'm going to be out of town by the end of the week, but I'll be happy to answer any questions like, what can I use instead? Or do you have a recipe on X, Y, or Z? I'll be happy to do some research for you. If you ever want me to come to your centers, I can't wait to get back into, making site visits, and we can talk about food, or we can look at your menu or anything like that. Even in Wake County, I don't have a problem with that, or New Hanover or Brunswick or Columbus, all over North Carolina. This has now become a statewide program, and we'll just keep growing as we go. I also have a newsletter, so if you go to the Facebook page, there's a button there that you can join our newsletter. It comes out the first of every month. It's the only time I send it out, except when we're doing classes, and it usually has some good recipes or good news or good information. I am a one-person shop. I've been trying to find a volunteer to help me out, but that's just not working really well. Maybe this summer I might have somebody to help me out, but I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I promise. Lynn?
All right. Well, thank you guys, and y'all have a great evening, and we'll hopefully see you on March 15th for the Cooking with Authors class.
Cooking with Authors, story time.
That's right. It'll be fun.
All right.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.